who's going to be more pleased with that result, Arsenal or Liverpool?
I would have if I just looked at the stat line and saw a point for each, I'd say Arsenal, given all the injuries. But it's always a different position in game when Arsenal were dominating, in my opinion. They were fairly in control.
I would say they dominated the first half,
yes.
100%.
But they were in control even in the second 100%. Half. They were in control. I think when Gabriel Magalhaes came out and Kiwior went in, I was nervous because Kiwior is not the greatest defender, and
yeah.
I think he struggles mightily at this level, and it's no coincidence that Salah ended up finding the back of the net.
So I also think there was a little bit of a coincidence in that it's right around the same time that Liverpool reverts back to the Champions League lineup. They make a couple changes, and I think you saw them sort of take a little bit more of the momentum away from Arsenal. I agree with you. First half and probably the first few minutes of the second half, Arsenal maintained dominant, at least the momentum.
Felt control.
Yeah, there was some control. But I still feel like you have to take into account the insane amount of injuries that Arsenal are trying to deal with at the moment. I know other clubs have dealt with it better, right? Liverpool dealt with it last year and still found ways to win. You're at home, you don't want to lose a lead. You certainly don't want to draw and have to split points. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to look back at this and say this was a good result for Arsenal.
How do you guys feel about this tendency that we're seeing in Arsenal because they're conceding more than they were conceding last year, given the injuries and whatnot, like we saw against City? Like we saw more towards the end of this game. Arsenal takes their foot off the pedal, recedes a little bit, and tries to see the game out. It didn't work this time. It didn't work against Manchester City by a hair. Is this something that you guys see as sustainable for Arsenal, adapting to the circumstances instead of holding the ball and defending with possession or whatnot?
You're not taking into account that both Timber and Magalhaes came out.
We're injured.
And it's after that point.
It is still following the trend, though.
But in that same vein, the ball came from the right side where you had Salah come inside and Darwin Nunez. It was a great run.
Beautiful ball from Trent.
Beautiful ball and a beautiful run. And the way that Nunez and Salah work together.
They have a lovely little connection.
You think Darwin kind of like mishit that? It looked a little bit clumsy the way that he laid it.
He took a shot. He took a shot. It was that bad.
No. Shot this guy. I mean,
it was a little bit awkward.
Yeah, but it went right into the path.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't a perfect pass.
At the end of the day, it's a great assist by Darwin Nunez.
I think on a Liverpool standpoint, I think they're going to be thrilled with getting anytime you go to the Emirates and come back twice. That is a character building. That is a really positive.
Gotta be thrilled.
Result for them. So I think ultimately they're going to be really, really happy with a point. But you're starting to see a little bit of Arne Slot certainly in that first half. They had no answers for the way Arsenal was set up, and it's going to be interesting to see how, because obviously Arsenal, I think certainly at the start of the season, title contender, all of that. But are you going to be able to figure it out against other teams? Are you going to be able to figure it out against a Villa? Are you going to be able to figure it out against a City? And that's for me, when we're going to really get a sense of how good Liverpool is, because right now the results have been really positive, but it'll be very interesting to see how he continues to adjust.
Does a performance like this, don't you think Liverpool are title contenders, or is it way too early?
No, they're title contenders.
They are. It's a three-horse race.
I think they are.
But you guys didn't expect a little more from Liverpool?
I think the first half was not good, and I think that I was impressed with how they came out in the second half and the response, yeah. And
I think he made the right tactical changes.
Yeah.
Still, for me, I think Konate was the player of the match for Liverpool.
Unbelievable.
He was absolutely incredible. I don't know how sustainable it is against teams that are fully fit to be able to cover for Trent Alexander defensively so much. He was on the spot every time. He completely negated Martinelli. Martinelli needs to show me way more, especially he hasn't been dangerous on a counter in a while. I don't know if enough questions have been asked, but Konate put him in his pocket for quite a bit. I mean, maybe not put him in his pocket, but at the very least negated a lot of his attack.
Yeah.
Can Konate continue to do that?
He's been their best player I would argue, the last 4 matches. He's been unbelievable.
He's so good.
I don't know.
Against a lot of people talk
against
about
the City,
Van Dijk, but this guy.
Yeah, he's special.
We'll see. again, it goes back to your point that you raised the week before. Are we satisfied with Liverpool maybe not dominating teams from start to finish? Against an Arsenal in the first half at the Emirates, I don't think you're going to dominate. It's going to be hard. Very few teams can go to the Emirates and dominate against Arsenal.
Just like Arsenal going to the Etihad.
Right, very few teams. I think I would like to see more. The thing is that Arsenal going to the Etihad, it's a project that is already well-oiled and we're knee-deep in the Arteta project. And here we're just getting started. I agree with you. Eventually, like in those Klopp days, I would love to see them running riot
the
on certain
high-flying.
teams.
Yeah, I was expecting. Look, I predicted a draw. I wish I would have predicted a win because maybe it would have happened.
But this team is more balanced. This team more balanced than this very last iteration of Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool.
He switches it up quite a bit. He doesn't play the same system. It's not always the same players in the same position doing the same thing. He's tactically aware that changes need to be made based on the club you go, especially when you're on the road. I think Arne Slot has showed you a lot. Even after in the post-match, he said, we weren't the best team. We weren't the best team on the night, and we found a way to draw. This guy's a breath of fresh air.
Ultimately, it's a point that keeps you strong in the conversation.
100%.
We were the best team.
Crazy, though.
The greatest team of all time.
This shocked me, though. Liverpool had 55% possession to Arsenal's 45. XG for Liverpool was 0.81. XG was 0.92, so not that much higher. Both had 9 total shots, and Liverpool had 4 shots on goal. Arsenal had 3. So it's like you feel like
that was a draw.
It was a draw.
That's a draw. Let's shake your hands. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see each other at your house.
But I was surprised when I saw those numbers after the match because it didn't really even. Yeah. It felt.
I will say that is Diogo Jota is a massive miss, but that is Arsenal really depleted, and by the end of the match, a completely makeshift backline. So if I'm Liverpool, I have a couple questions there.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
He's trying to put.
Listen, we're going to find out a lot about them in the next.
I'm trying to do to her what you do to him.
We've talked about their upcoming gauntlet of a schedule, and it's not going to be easy. We're going to find out a lot.
I heard
Liverpool.
United called about his availability.
You shut your mouth.